Over the years, Acer's Chromebook Spin series has produced numerous fan favorites. The Chromebook Spin 713 from 2020 and the one from 2021 are among the most popular, most loved Chromebooks ever made, and the Chromebook Spin 513 is one of my personal favorite Chromebooks of 2022. With the Spin 714, Acer went in a slightly different direction this year, opting for a different screen size, a different aspect ratio, and a different resolution. There are some redeeming qualities of this device over previous 700 series Spin Chromebooks, but are they enough to make the 714 a fan favorite again this year? Let's check it out. The story of the Spin 714 is an interesting one. In some ways, I feel like it's a better device overall than the previous 713s, but in other ways, I kind of miss those devices by contrast. With the Spin 714, Acer changed up the winning formula they've had by taking the general chassis and design for the Spin 713 and relegating it over to the honestly well-received MediaTek-powered Spin 513. And we'll link that review in the description, but I'll quickly say that if you don't know any better and I handed you the Spin 513 from this year, you'd likely mistake it for the Spin 713 from both 2020 and 2021. And aside from the lack of fan ports and a lighter chassis and slightly thinner body, the Spin 513 is Acer's 2022 3x2 Quad HD Chromebook. So with the Spin 513 holding down that particular form factor here for 2022, Acer took some of their more premium pieces and crafted the Spin 714 with the latest 12th gen Intel processors inside. The model currently on sale at Best Buy comes in at $729 and it's equipped with a Core i5, 8 gigs of RAM, and 256 gigs of NVMe storage. As always, there may end up being other variants on Acer's website, but for now, the Best Buy model is what's available, and this thing is crazy fast. For those of you that get into benchmarks, we're talking Octane scores above 80,000 and Speedometer 2.0 scores that push north of 240. Trust me, it's really fast. Apart from the solid internals and a convertible form factor, the Spin 714 actually departs from the tried and true Spin 713 formula in nearly every other way. While this isn't a versus video, I think it's important to talk about the Spin 714 in reference to the Spin 713s that came before it. Regardless of Acer's intent here, people are seeing the Spin 714 as the Spin 713 successor, and that's both a good and a bad thing for this Chromebook. Let's talk first about why that's a bad thing. One of the biggest wins Acer has had in the past few years with the Spin 713 has been the display used in each model. With a QHD resolution, 13.5 inch size, and a 3x2 aspect ratio, the Spin 713 has always been beloved, mainly because of its screen. And many times it was even in spite of some serious shortcomings with those previous Chromebooks. It's easy to forgive a mediocre keyboard and speakers when the screen that you look at every moment you use the Chromebook is so damn good. Where the Spin 713's standout feature was absolutely the screen, the 714 sacrifices in this area just a bit. And I say just a bit because I actually like the screen and the aspect ratio and the bezels on the Spin 714 quite a bit. It's Full HD, not Quad HD. Technically it's 1920 by 1200. It's 16 by 10 instead of 3 by 2 and 14 inches versus the 713's 13.5 inches, but it gets quite bright at around 350 nits. It has great viewing angles, and it covers 100% of the sRGB color space. Acer touts a QHD variant on their website, but that version is nowhere to be found at this point. Additionally, Acer sidestepped the large bottom bezel normally present on their convertibles, and the small bezels all around give the Chromebook a far more modern look than most. Is the display as nice as what you get on the Spin 713 or 513? No, but the combo of smaller bezels and a more landscape layout may appeal to some users out there, and the truth is it isn't a hindrance or problem spot on this Chromebook when it comes time to actually use it. The other negative to this form factor change comes down to the trackpad. While it's glass, it's smooth, and it's great to use, it's considerably smaller due to the combo of the upward firing speakers on the keyboard deck and an overall smaller footprint on this Chromebook from top to bottom thanks to that 16 by 10 aspect ratio. It didn't cause me issues per se, but it took a bit of time for me to get used to. Look, I love huge trackpads that we've had on the past couple Spin 713s and on the new Spin 513, so this was definitely a step in the wrong direction in my opinion. However, when we look at the Spin 714 as a whole, this is the last place where concessions were made when comparing it to previous models. The rest of this device moves the needle forward, and the good stuff you get in this package far outweighs the couple downgrades you have to deal with when comparing it to last year's Spin 713. We've already mentioned the screen, so let's quickly discuss what's above it. the 1080p webcam. While moving from 720p up to 1080p isn't a massive undertaking, the quality of the camera is a most welcome change. The cameras on the previous Spin 713 models were really bad, and the Spin 714 corrects this. The resolution is good, but the dynamic range and exposure is wildly better this time around. And it's been noticed by others when I'm on video calls. They also included a privacy shade too, and you know I'm always happy to see that addition. Acer also improved these speakers and keyboard in pretty significant ways, giving us dedicated upward firing speakers and a far better keyframe than what any Spin 713 or 513 has had in the past. While I still prefer HP's high-end keyboards a bit better, the Spin 714 has been an absolute pleasure to type on. The backlight looks really great against the steel blue chassis, and I've been perfectly happy typing on this Chromebook daily since I gave up my HP Elite Dragonfly a few weeks ago. And those speakers are no slouch either. Granted, the Spin 713 had atrocious speakers, but the Spin 714 goes far above and beyond not to only best those other Chromebooks, but to put itself in the upper class of what Chromebook speakers are capable of. Again, this isn't Pixelbook Go territory, but they're really loud and they're really full. I'd have no problem catching up on a few episodes of a show on Netflix or catching the latest upload from any number of YouTubers I follow without really feeling the need to reach for headphones. While the port selection is largely the same as before, it's what you'd expect from a powerful Chromebook in this price range, and the full-size HDMI port is always welcome. In addition, you get two USB 4.0 Type-C Thunderbolt ports, and they're positioned one on each side, and the single USB Type-A port and headphone microphone jack are nice additions as well. But as you're examining those ports, don't miss the one on the front that houses the recharging USI pin that keeps itself completely flush with the bottom of the Spin 714. It's a solid little stylus that, as I've said before about stowable pens, is always right there when you need it, charged up and ready to go. And speaking of charging, the Spin 714 supports fast charging to give you an additional 4 hours of use with just 30 minutes of being plugged in. You won't need it terribly often because I found the 10-hour battery life that Acer says this one gets is pretty close to reality as long as you keep your screen brightness somewhere around that 60 to 70% range. Jump up to 100% on the screen brightness and you'll pull back to that 7-hour range. Though with this sort of power under the hood, that's really a solid number. Like other 12th gen Intel powered Chromebooks, the Acer Chromebook Spin 714 gets regular updates until June of 2030, so you can feel good about knowing that if you choose to grab one of these, you can plan on holding on to it for quite some time. Sure, devices like the HP Dragonfly have literally everything you could ask for all in one device, but they also command huge price tags. With a starting price of $729, the Spin 714 will only see discounts from this point forward, and in this price range, this Chromebook is a real contender. When you compare what you're getting in the box to something like the HP Elite Dragonfly, the value proposition for this Chromebook is very high. You don't get the 12th gen Core i5 and 256 gigs of storage on the cheap, and when we put those impressive internals inside a device with an aluminum chassis, a great keyboard, a great screen, an included pen, I start to better understand what Acer was aiming for with this Chromebook. I've loved my time with it for sure, and I bet many of you will as well. While it maybe isn't the follow-up to the Spin 713 that you were expecting, it is a great addition to the Spin family of devices for Acer, and it's easily one of my favorite Chromebooks of 2022. But guys, that's it for this one. If you enjoyed this video, give us a thumbs up, head down there, hit that subscribe button, and be sure to ring the notification bell right next to that if you'd like to be alerted when we make future videos just like this one. Until next time. We'll see you.